Hi everyone, welcome back to Red Bank Public Library's StART program, where stories and art collide. I'm really glad you're joining me. I've got 3 really cool crafts, fun crafts to do for any age group, young and old, big hands, little hands. We also like to coordinate the crafts with some stories, and I bet you can guess the craft today is going to be all about peacocks. So one of the cutest books that we have with a peacock right in the very front is What If You Had an Animal Tail? You can find this down in the children's department, or you could certainly give us a call. We could get it and put it in one of your bundles of books. There's some other books that have the peacock theme. You can probably see them right up on the mantle there. Flora, Frida, 3 Hens and a Peacock, and the other one is something I have in my own collection at the house here. It's Beauty and the Beast, but it had a beautiful peacock feather on the front, so I just wanted to throw that up there. Anyway, so these are the books, so check them out. If you read them, you'll have to let me know if you enjoy them or if you find any other books with peacocks. So the first craft we're going to do is the little peacock fan, okay? Then we're going to do something with feathers that look very much like your peacock feathers. And then we're going to do a fun little craft in the back you might see over my shoulder that does involve discarded DVDs. So without further ado, let's get started. Now what you're going to need for this first craft is 2 pieces of construction paper, and I like to use 2 different colors. You can do this any way you want because this is your craft. I also like to use a paint pen, but crayons, stickers, anything that you like to do to decorate and embellish your peacock, why don't you grab, and you can do that. And other than some glue, I think that's pretty much it for this first one. Okay, so let's get started. As I said, I'm going to use the blue paper, and you probably know how to make an accordion pleat. You're just going to fold it, and you're going to fold it back and forth many times, probably about 12 times. We're going the long way of the paper, not the short way. So we're making the accordion pleat on the long, and that's probably about 12. Now just to keep the video moving along, I already started it, and I like to crease the paper as I go along with the handle of my scissor, because believe it or not, just rubbing my hands along construction paper, it gives me the chills. I can't explain that one, but that's the way I feel. All right, so there you go. Now you're going to find the middle point, and you're going to give a little gentle pinch because it's important that you keep it even, this side to this side. Now what you're going to do before you do anything more is you're going to open it back up, and that's where the fun comes in. We're going to start to decorate. So I like to use a couple different colors. So right now we're going to work on decorating the feathers of the peacock. Now these pens I do have to shake up a little bit. They should be good, but let me just do that real fast. And what we're going to do is whatever you do on this side, you're going to turn it around and do the same on this side. So what I did is just do a little U on each fold. Can you see that? So I'm going to continue all the way across, and let's pretend I went all the way across. So you're doing the little U's, and then the next thing you're going to do is take another color, and again, if you don't want to do different colors, this is just fine. Now I'm going to make an upside down U inside the first U I made. Okay? See, that's a shiny paint pen. I really like those. They're fun to use. And then you're going to use another color and just draw a nice little circle inside that upside down U. And that's what that's gonna look like. Okay? Then the next step would be to draw lines down from each of those little eyes of the peacock feather. Now you're going to continue all the way across, and then after you finish that, you're just going to turn your page around and you duplicate what you did on the bottom right up here. Okay, so you're going to make a big U all the way, and then you're going to make an upside down U, and then you fill it in with a little dot, and then do the little lines. I went ahead and completed that, and that's what it looks like when you finish it. Okay. And you do it on both sides. Now, the next thing you want to do is you're going to put a little bit of glue right here. I used liquid glue for that. This paper is really porous, and I found using the glue stick, it was just a little longer to take before it was actually really good and sticky and tight there. So I used a little bit of the liquid glue, and just on the first couple pleats on the very bottom. Okay, now the next part we're going to do is we're going to do the body. Now, a lot of people get nervous when they don't have a stencil already cut out for them, but I'm going to show you a quick trick of how you're going to do this, because what you're going to do is just make this little body. It's not the whole thing, it's just basically the head and the neck, and then a portion of the body pops out. And does that look like anything to you? Maybe if I turn it this way, I can't tell whether it's backwards for you or not. It's a number 2. All right, so if you can draw a number 2, which I'm guessing you can, you're going to be able to do this. So let's start. I'm going to draw it real fast, and then I'm going to show you what you can do, so you don't have to worry about not having a stencil already cut out for you. Now, I've done this a couple of times. That's why I can do this pretty fast. But take your time, and before you know it, you're going to be able to draw it fast too. Okay, so that's the body that we're going to cut out. That's about 3 inches, okay? And then the little crown on the peacock's head, that's just another little bit. But the body and the neck really should stay around 3 inches, because when you fold your pleated fan, if it's much larger than 3 inches, it's going to pop up above it, and it might be a little bit more unstable. But here is something I want you to try. Okay, so here's the stencil, and now I'm going to outline the 2. See that? You could make a 2. Now the next thing, I bet you could make a circle. Sure you can. You're going to make a circle right at the top of the 2 there. And then you're going to make a little triangle, which is your beak. And then you make a fancy little hat. And then you make a nice long neck for your peacock. So you're just going to try to keep it the same distance from one side of the neck to the other as you go down, so that it's evenly spaced all the way down before it hits the body, and then it comes into a little curve. And that's it, all right? So there, you can do it. So give it a try. And then, oh, excuse me. I'm talking so much today. Okay, so now I chose to do a pretty mint green color, and I traced my little body on that earlier, and I already cut it out. Okay, so what we're going to do next is you're going to decorate it. You need to put a little eye on it and maybe some feathers and a beak. So that's what I did, okay? So I colored in the beak, drew some little feathers because not much shows of the body, and then I did a little extra decoration on the top for the crown. Now the cool thing about this is get your trusty glue stick, and this craft is practically done, and we're going to move right on to the next thing, okay? Let's see. So you're going to put it right in the center. You're going to squeeze pretty tight, and you're going to let it drop down, and there you go. Get your first craft done. Let me pinch that a little tighter so it sticks together. There you go. Okay, now the next one we're going to do is these fun little things. These are feathers. Okay? Now, I hot glued these to a pen. So you can do that. That's a nice gift idea. It's just something fun. So you could use them for nameplates. Oh, and I think I have a couple right here. You could put these as nameplates at a setting at a table, or you could put this on top of a present with someone's name attached to it, and you could just put them on a shelf somewhere as a display. But this is a fun craft to do too. What you need to do is do a stencil of a leaf. And, oh yes, I meant to point this out to you too. You could do a little garland. If I had more time, I would have spray painted those little clothespins that have my leaves attached to that string. And you could maybe even decorate it for a holiday, like a Thanksgiving, if you have all the different colors that represent Thanksgiving, like your oranges, your browns, some different greens. But what you want to do is get a piece of paper, and you're going to have two stencils. One's about 8 inches and the other one is about 6.5 inches. And you're going to trace those out, and in an effort to save some time, I've already traced these out, and that's what it's going to look like. Now the next thing you're going to do before you actually cut that out is you're going to take a ruler and you're going to draw a line right down the center of the leaf, and then you're going to draw a line to the left of the center and the right of the center. But those two lines are going to be at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to hold this up. I hope you can see. Can you see that? So that there's one line right down the center, and then at the very top, the left and the right line starts pretty close to the center, and then as it comes down to the bottom, it goes closer to the curve of the leaf, okay? So let me show you with a nice dark line. Gonna draw right down the center, make a little notch at the top to the left of the center line and to the right of the center line. Then I make another notch on the bottom, left and right of the center line. And I'll hold that up so you can see that. That way, when I draw the line, I can make it line up just like I want. Now, instead of drawing a solid line, when I do these, because this is actually going to be the right side of the leaf when we go to decorate it, you might want to think about trying to draw a little lighter than what I'm doing right now. And another thing you could even do is just pop the pen down the line instead of making a straight bold line. So if you just do a dotted or a dashed line, you'll be able to see where you have to fold it, but it won't be a solid line that might take away a little bit from your decoration of the leaf. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is grab your scissors and cut the leaves out. Oh, actually, no, the fun part. What you want to do is you want to decorate it. So, I did a couple different options here. Right now, what I'm going to do is just use one little stamper that I have and an ink pad, and I'm just going to quickly jump all over this leaf with random placements of the stamp. But when I was doing this the other day to make all these, I was experimenting with different stamps. I don't really have a lot of stamps here at the house, so I had always been curious about making my own stamps. And one of the suggestions I had heard was grabbing a potato, and you can decorate the potato and then make a stamp out of that. And I actually did that, and that's the design you can see on that one. It looks a little bit like a flower. I cut away some portions of the potato, and then I took a fork and stabbed it a couple of times. So that's how I created that look. And then this one, I just had a sponge that I had in the cabinet, and I pulled it out and just made a shape out of it. So if you don't have a lot of stampers at home like I don't, you could always make some. I don't know how good ink holds up with potato being put into it many times, so that will be something we'll have to discover later on. Then the next step, anyway, after you decorate with your stamps, so I just did some random stamps real quick, you're gonna cut it out. And after you cut it out, you need to fold it down the center line, okay? So, and then after that, the two lines, left and right of the center, get folded in the reverse direction. So you're folding the center line like this, and then you fold the next line to the left of that center line. You fold it back towards you, and then the opposite line to the center is also folded back, so it looks like this. That way, when you open it up, you have that nice groove right down the center, and it just helps with the display of the leaf after you're done. And this is what it looks like when you're all done. Okay? Now I went ahead and cut this, again, just to keep us moving along here. But when you go to cut the leaf, I start at the bottom and work up to the top. And if you can see, there's different ways of cutting it. You can do nice stripes or just nice solid clips. And then here I started doing some little bit of a wiggle to it. And some got a little wider, some were thinner. But that's the cool thing about doing crafts, is you can really experiment with it and see what style comes out that you like the best. And that is our little feather craft. Now the next craft we did, I don't have a lot to demonstrate with this. This is a discarded DVD, and what I wanted to show you, and I don't know if it's gonna work right now, so let's check this out. There's a couple different ways to separate the DVD, because all you want is that really pretty shiny part. These were DVDs that were given to me by my neighbor, so I didn't feel guilty about it. After the best way to, I think, to do it is if you soak it in hot water for about 5 minutes. Now you're gonna take a sharp knife. This is definitely big hands opportunity. You're gonna take a sharp knife and you're gonna put it right in between the two, because believe it or not, this is actually 2 pieces. And you separate that. Can you see what I'm doing there? And you just pull real slowly, and you see how the shiny part stays? Now what happened, I pulled some of it off on this, and that's gonna happen on some of the DVDs. You're probably gonna need 4 or 5 for this particular craft. I think what happens though too is that if you soak it for 5 minutes and go ahead and work on it right away, you don't lose as much of the pretty shiny stuff. This I did right before I started this video, so it's been a bit of time. So separate the 2 pieces as soon as it comes out of the water, and you can handle it without, you know, hurting yourself. And then you're just going to basically make your own stencil. So what I did is I created a layout, and can you see what I did here too? This is actually pretty funny. Okay, look at the 2. We've got this one and this one. Now the Peacock's body has his, you know, body looks almost shapes like it goes down like, whereas a swan or many other birds, it kind of goes up. So I kind of morphed my peacock into a swan. But that's the cool thing about crafts. You can do stuff like that and it's perfectly acceptable. Anyway, this was my piece of paper that I put the layout on and just tried to experiment with it. I wound up using an extra one because I didn't like this big gap here, an extra little feather. And I like to keep the space because I wanted to have some fun with the dots. Now, if my daughter was here with us, she would have said, you should have stopped. And I do, I have a hard time stopping because I was having so much fun doing all these dots everywhere. But one of the really cool things about this is when I did the stencils, I was using the discarded part of the DVDs, and I made my own little stencil, so it was really easy to draw it. So get some glue, create a stencil. I had 2 little pieces here to create the top part of the feather. I added some jewels for embellishment. I painted this jewel because I didn't have any black jewels to put in for her eye. And then I did some dot art all the way around to create a frame. And I put it on this yellow piece of paper. I would suggest maybe black or even purple, but I love how it's so shiny. So give it a try. Let me know how you enjoyed doing these crafts, and let me know if you read those books. Tell me which ones you like best. All right, be well everyone, and happy crafting.